So we're excited to see that, to see a student teacher come back to Maricopa and continue in the profession. And then the shameless plug is Saturday from 1 to about 8 p.m. will be the 4th annual Maricopa Unified School District Music-a-thon between me, Mr. Ford, our colleague Ms. Hoff, and Mr. Dukas. We're going to have about 500 students. We anticipate about sometimes 3,500 in the audience throughout the course of the day to see music 1 to 8 p.m. And at 7:30, you'll see our combined band of around 180 students perform a piece conducted by Mr. Ford, and then hear the Maricopa High School Fight Song conducted by our mayor, Christian Price. So a lot of exciting things going on, and a lot of exciting things about to go on in Maricopa.
Great, thank you for sharing, for being here. And next we have Roger Wagner.
Superman.
Hi, Roger Wagner, 37902 West Merced Street. I'm a Maricopa resident. Speaking on behalf of Red Fred in Maricopa and the things that are going on with that, first we had some really awesome and interesting things going on the last couple of weeks, and we wanted to first give the opportunity to say thank you for freeing us up to go be able to advocate for Maricopa and Maricopa Unified School District. We learned a lot. And some of our takeaways, not only from our movement amongst our staff, but the people we were around, were what we can do specifically to advocate for education in Maricopa and MUSD. And also a far greater understanding of how school funding and that process works. And so we're really excited to leverage that information. I hope it sent, I got a return to sender, but I sent an email with information about a poll. If I didn't get it, let me know and I'll send it to you, that we sent amongst our members and the people that are a part of our movement in Maricopa regarding potential thoughts on what to do with the classroom site funds that we'll see an increase in, and then the district additional assistance funds that we'll see an increase in. Kind of going, here's what we're thinking. We're representing about half of the certified staff in that poll right now in the district. There's not really a majority or an agreement on what to do there, especially when it comes to classroom site funds, but district additional assistance, you'll see here there are two prevailing thoughts. They're both just pretty similar in votes and numbers. We really wanted to say also, on behalf of our movement, we respect what the governing board does, the administrative cabinet, and the budget committee in the effort to make Maricopa Unified School District budget very lean, very functional, and also very transparent, because some of the things we saw happening in other places were not quite that. And we grew a lot in respect for that and understanding that. And speaking to me personally, speaking with Mr. Rausch, also gaining information there. So we plan to move forward. We're advocating for education in Maricopa, and specifically what we can do to make everything here a lot better. So thank you for the opportunity on behalf of my colleagues, certified classified staff, to be able to go do that and then get a lot of greater learning from that.
Great, thank you so much. And finally, I have Diane Straight-Speck.
President Noor, members of the board, and Dr. Lopman, I have two quick things that I wanted to talk about tonight. One is we just finished the Bob, or Best of the Best, and as we all know, this, especially the last few weeks, have been pretty stressful. It's always a stressful time at the end of the year anyway, and then for special education even more so. This was the first time we had the opportunity to have a comedian and magician come. It was so awesome, and to just have however long he talked, 45 minutes to an hour, just to rest and relax and laugh was just wonderful. So I'm not sure who put that all together, but I want to say thank you, and I hope that trend continues. And then the second thing I wanted to talk about is action item 7G, which is discussion and possible action to approve the new work calendar for certified and classified. I'm a speech pathologist at Butterfield, and so Janelle Hildick talked to us at the faculty meeting today. And again, I don't know who put the plan together, if it was all of admin, if it was cabinet, but I wanted to say thank you. There's so much variety in there and flexibility to accommodate teachers who live in town, who don't live in town, who are single parents. So I just want to hope you will vote for it, but I just wanted to say thank you for whoever the team was. It was very thought out and appreciated.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. That concludes our call to the public. So we will move on to item 3, Superintendent's report, and I'm so happy to have this back on our agenda.
I'm certainly happy to be here, joining you. Am I on? Can you hear me? I guess. A little bit, okay. I don't want to blow it on my first,
It says it's
there we
on.
go.
Yeah, it's just you have to talk right
Just
in.
have to talk right into it.
Yeah.
Okay,
There we
how's
go.
that?
Yeah.
Thank you, President Knorr. It was a terrific day in Maricopa Unified School District. This afternoon, we celebrated MUSD's Best of the Best, support staff, teachers, substitutes, volunteers, and administrators who were nominated by their peers for their dedication and all-around awesomeness. We honored the retirees, who we are so grateful for. The stability and longevity that they provide this district over the years is really a true gift. A motivational, comedic magician added emphasis to the occasion with a delightful performance. Many thanks goes to the planning committee, and I think that was Krista Roden, Diane Vigil, and Michelle Garcia for a job very, very well done. Mrs. Coutre was there and did a great job assisting with the festivities. And I must say, Mr. Beckett certainly has a calling and a part-time job as an MC or game show host. And Mr. Poor, I'm glad you're here because I enjoyed going to the mattress sale. I had hoped to see some students, but everybody left as soon as I got here to do this walkout thing. And so I attended the mattress sale, and the best part about it was getting to hear the band first thing in the morning on a Saturday. It just set me up for a great weekend. Normally, this time of year, governing boards are considering proposed budgets, and that's not the case in the state of Arizona. The recently adopted education budget has some nuances that are yet to be fully defined and require careful consideration. The major points of discussion are the increase to the base formula and how it is applied to our unique student characteristics, the definition of a teacher, and some of the reporting requirements that are new with this legislation. These details must be synthesized with the careful suggestions of numerous committees, along with the vital elements in our strategic plan. Just this morning, Mr. Beckett, Mr. Roush, and I absorbed the advice of the experts in ASBA and ASA to just begin our process. In June, we will present a budget proposal that maximizes the funding with an intent to provide competitive compensation to teachers and staff. So please stay tuned. I would be remiss if I didn't formally welcome back our teachers and recognize the historic significance of the walkout. In honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, I would like to thank each teacher for answering the call to become an educator, and thank them for choosing Maricopa Unified to call home. I'm proud to work alongside a faculty that respects their profession and works so hard every day for the children in this city. Thank you.
Thank you. So nice to have someone up here next to me. I don't feel so lonely. Okay, we will now move on to item 4, governing board member reports, and we will start with you, Mrs. Coutre. You thought you moved down to the end to be ignored, but you're first.
Yeah, I really thought by sitting down here, I would be like kind of the last. Thanks. Well, I do want to, again, thank Dr. Lotman for being on the dais. I think it's really important that you sit with us to show that we are a team working together for our district. And so I do appreciate you joining us, and I'm happy to see your face there. But so one of the reasons that I wanted to sit down here, though, is so I could make faces at the superintendent. So I'm just giving you a heads up. So I was actually able to participate in the band mattress sale. Actually bought a mattress, still waiting for the delivery, but yeah. And I was able to go to the state track meets on Wednesday and Saturday. Kudos to our high school boys varsity 4x1 relay. They took first in state. Not only did they take first in state in our division, they had the fastest time throughout all divisions. I think they set a state record, 41:51. It was an amazing day for them, so I'm so proud of them. I also kind of crashed prom for a little bit to take pictures because I was at the state track meet, so I had to get pictures. It was so nice to see all the kids nicely dressed up, well-behaved, and the teachers looked absolutely stunning, and so I thank them for being there to make sure that that our students had a safe event, and it was really nice to see them. I attended the Best of the Best Awards, and I do want to do a shout out to the Maricopa Education Foundation for their assistance. They had some really good raffle prizes, and I'm sure the one that won the juice extractor is really happy. But I think the highlight award was the Starbucks $40 gift card. I think that got the most cheers. So really appreciative of all the staff for the Red for Ed, their movement. I second Dr. Loatman's comments on our district isn't what it is without you. And I'm so proud to be part of this district and have you guys out there fighting for our kids. And we know what's next. We know that we have to change that, and we can change that at the legislative level. That's the only place that it's going to change. And I know that with you guys out there advocating and bringing education, the importance of education and funding it to the forefront, we really have a chance of really raising that bar, not just for Maricopa, but for the entire state of Arizona. So thank you so much. And for those that have been reading my Facebook post, I promised President Knorr and Dr. Loatman that I would make a decision on whether or not to run again. I've served on this wonderful board for 8 years, and I have loved every minute of it, even through some very difficult decisions. But my life has changed the last 4 years, and it's been really difficult because I enjoy serving on this board. I enjoy working with all of these board members. They're amazing. Their passion for education and Maricopa is just outstanding. I've talked to my children, and my youngest told me today, Mom, do it. If it makes you happy, do it. We'll figure it out. I'm going to run again. So, and I just want to thank all of you for your support. And if anybody wants to pick up a sheet for helping me collect signatures, see me later. Thank you.
Mr. Judd?
Thank you, President Knorr. Well, first I would like to say that is welcome news. I don't think it has to be explained to anyone, especially the individuals sitting in this room, how much Patty means to the district, how hard she works, how much she stands behind teachers, how hard she fights for the kids in the district. So that's welcome news, and very glad to hear it. She was also a very good mentor when I had started up last year in terms of, and she's always been very inclusive of new board members and trying to show us the ropes and making sure that we kind of understand what's going on. So I would like to thank you for that as well. To kind of piggyback off what Patty discussed in terms of the Red for Ed movement, I'll just say, in addition to what's already been said, what's great to see is not just the statewide movement, but what's occurred within the city of Maricopa amongst teachers. That didn't exist 2 override cycles ago. And I can say that from being on that override committee and the amount of teachers that were involved and really engaged, that I think is going to change. And that means not only big things for the state in terms of the Red for Ed movement, but also for our city in terms of having a really much better chance of passing overrides when we need to do that. And just being more engaged, seeing educators more engaged in the process anyways is amazing to see. And it's heartwarming. You look at that picture, that shot over Phoenix and seeing nothing but red all the way down the street. It's moving. That's moving. So I'd like to say thank you for doing all that you do. And thank you, Ms. Cotre, for running again. Thank you, President Knorr.
Thank you, Mr. Judd. Mrs. Anderson?
Use your sleep. Okay, so a couple things. Seniors Honor Night is moved to the 14th at 6 p.m. at the PAC Center. So, and there were a few people like me that went ahead and showed up this past Monday. I just wanted to practice, make sure I had my parking spot picked out. So I picked out my seat and everything. I'm ready to go. So, but it is Monday the 14th, and it's a great night to see what our seniors have accomplished and see all these scholarships that they've gotten. I also want to congratulate Cadet Hill, who has been accepted to West Point, which is pretty amazing. So now that gives us 2 Maricopa kids at West Point. Very, very impressive, and you will be impressed by the amount of military scholarships that will come out Monday night. So our students are amazing. The next thing I wanted to piggyback on Mrs. Coutret's legislative effort. The storm is not over, and we need to make the biggest impact at the polls. And so if you are not registered to vote, I urge you to go to one of the school offices, get a registration packet, and register to vote. The primaries are in August, and that's when a lot of the races are decided. So please, you've got to keep this voice going. You have got to keep this Powerball going down the road, because things are not going to change until we change our numbers at the polls. So get educated, get involved. If you have questions, there's many websites to go to on the candidates, but I urge you to register to vote, to make your voice heard more than just 6 days at the Capitol. It needs to be on a daily basis. So that was my biggest push tonight. MES Leadership Day, I will be there on Friday morning. It's at 8:30. So that'll be exciting. The children do an amazing job at that as well. And then one last thing, there is a nonprofit that I'm also involved in. It's called Every Kid Counts, and they raise funds for all of the students and children in Pinal County and some of those in Maricopa County that are in need, and many of our children are a part of Every Kid Counts, taking care of them. So they've got a Mother's Day fundraiser this weekend, which I'll be volunteering at Saturday and Sunday. So if you don't have anything to do, bring your mom out to Rawhide on Sunday. It'll be a fun time. But I just enjoy being able to give back and making sure that I can volunteer and do what I need to do on Mother's Day. So I told my kids, I go, this is what I want to do for Mother's Day, and they're like, yes, we're off the hook. So
Simple.
breakfast in bed, yeah, here's your bowl of cereal.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, so if you need something to do, it's Saturday and Sunday at Rawhide, and it should be a good time. And I think that, and again, don't forget your voter registration packets. You have to do that. That's it, I'm done.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Dr. Miller?
Yeah, very good. This is my favorite time of the year, not just because school's about to get out and we have a summer vacation, but my favorite time to celebrate teachers, celebrate our students. We have a lot of celebrations to go on between now and the end of the school year. This year, or at this Friday, we have the Leadership Day at Maricopa Elementary. Next week, as Board Member Anderson had mentioned, there's senior awards on Monday. And then I know I plan on next week going to Butterfield Elementary for the talent show. And so there's a lot of activities to celebrate our kids, celebrate parents, celebrate our teachers. We have middle school graduation, I believe, is on the 21st. And also high school graduation, as we know, is on the 24th. So I imagine we'll all be there. So celebrating, our students and their graduations. Also, I plan on, earlier this year, I took a tour of the RAM Academy in the high school. I plan on doing that again for the end of the school year. So I plan on doing that next. And also, this month is Foster Care Awareness Month. And I believe, I don't know how many exactly are in our district, but I know statewide we have about 14,000 kids that are in foster care placement. And so just wanted to bring that awareness. I know there's a lot of really good agencies out there, such as Arizona's Children's I've got the Arizona Children's Association. I know they provide a lot of services and provide services here locally as well. Do a great job, and just want to thank for our programs that we have serving foster children within the district. I know, like I said, I don't know exactly how many there are, but there are a growing number, unfortunately, across the state. So I just wanted to share that and bring that awareness to everybody. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Well, I've had quite the last 2 weeks. As you all know, I work at the Capitol for my day job. And so last week, both of my worlds collided, is what I like to tell people. This is my volunteer Wednesday night job, and my day job at the Capitol were all in one place for several days. And it was wonderful to see all of our MUSD teachers down there. I got to run into several of them while we were there and see them and talk to them and even answer questions about how things work down there, because it's sometimes hard to understand and hard to glean, the inner workings of the legislature. So I really enjoyed seeing all of you there and experiencing that with you, even though I wasn't in a t-shirt and jeans. I hope that your movement now makes the official wardrobe at the Capitol a t-shirt and jeans. That would be really helpful. No, but it was great to see everyone down there. And thank you all for what you do in light of Teacher Appreciation Week. It couldn't have come at a better time. I don't think it was almost perfect that this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, because we all really appreciate everything you do every day for our students and for our kiddos. So, and then I want to thank Dr. Lopeman and the cabinet for all they did over the last week and a half as well. I appreciate your support of our staff and appreciate you being on top of everything and just making sure that parents were informed and that everything ran as smoothly as possible and making it as easy as possible for everyone involved. So thank you for that. They were working overtime, let me tell you, making sure that everything was as smooth as possible. And that's all I have for today. Looking forward to all of the end of the year festivities, and Mrs. Cotray, that's the best news I've heard all day, so thank you for that. All right. We will move on to item 6, item 5. I keep getting ahead of myself tonight. Item 5, which is Pima Butte Elementary School presentation.
Yeah, I get to go home.
Yeah. Meeting adjourned.
President Knorr, members of the board, Dr. Lopeman, first we'd like to thank the board for inviting Pima Butte to present this evening. And also I'd like to recognize our Pima Butte staff out in the audience who are joining us this evening. Thank you for being here. Okay, tonight we're going to present on how we've implemented the new Envisions math curriculum. So I brought several of our teachers and our academic coach to present this evening on the different questions that are being asked about the curriculum. And also, I'm going to speak specifically to the data we have, and you all have copies in front of you, and I'll get to that once we get rolling here. So I'm going to hand the microphone over to our teachers, and they will start presenting.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to talk first about how our new math curriculum has been implemented at Pima Butte. And the slide. Oh. All right, so pretty much discussing amongst all of our grade levels, we talked about how the lessons are set up through the Envisions program, and it's pretty straight across the board for everybody. At the beginning of any lesson, there's resources online and in our teacher's manuals that we can use. The online resources are great because we don't have to tug home those giant books. We can have that at our fingertips at home. The lessons themselves start with a great solve and share to get the kids engaged. Talking to the first grade teachers, they actually do the video portion first. It has this cool little robot that gets the kids engaged with the lesson. They do that first. In third grade and up, we tend to do the solve and share in the book first because it kind of gets the kids engaged and talking. Also working on some of our Kagan strategies that we've implemented throughout the classrooms on our campus. After that, that gets them talking and into that math lesson with those I do, we do, I do, you do, we do type lessons. We also have center games and online resources that the kids have really enjoyed. And they're great because the kids can just jump in and use them. And the vocabulary has really kind of sparked conversations in the classrooms. It's neat to see where the kids have come since August with that, building on that vocabulary throughout the year, so that's been really nice. And then there's also resources for us for differentiation to use with the students, which has been nice for them as well.
Our second question we were asked to address was what progress we've made, and I was really excited that we got to go at the end of the year. We've now had almost a full academic year of using this new curriculum. So it's been a learning curve, as with any new curriculum adopted. So one progress that we've really worked on is figuring out that typical lesson and what it looks like in each of our classrooms, and trying to take what they give us and make it fit our students. Another progress that we've had with the Envisions is enhancing engagement. As Mrs. Palmer mentioned, we've been throwing in our Kagan strategies. I know they're really little, but those are actually pictures of my classroom doing like rally coach and round robin and using the curriculum we're given in a way that is enhancing their engagement. Another thing that we have been working on this year is implementing the technology portion. It has an awesome online function. They have practice buddy, they have homework, they have games. If they take the test online, it automatically gives them assignments afterwards based on the questions that they may have missed, or it'll give them enrichment on things that they can do better on. So in that other picture that's very small is our students using their Chromebooks and being on the online portion. The last progress I want to talk about, or that I'm going to have Mr. Lazar talk about, is our school city data. We've been able to, since we've had the full academic year, look at how that has affected, how having the new curriculum has affected our scores.
Okay, the first packet you have, you should take out, it says Pima Butte pre-test, post-test school city results, 17-18 school year. Okay, if you want to go to, flip through until you get to, it says Kinder Math at the top, and it shows the bar graphs. You'll see the blue bars and the orange bars. Okay, the blue bars represent the pre-test scores, and the orange bars represent the post-test scores. So we were, we made a big push right after we were done with AZ Merit the first half of April. We wanted to get the school city done before the end of April, so we made a big push, and we're glad that we got that done. And we're very pleased with our results. So if you take a just look at kindergarten math, you look at the pre-test, again, you see where the blue bars are, and then look at the kind of growth we had in kindergarten with the orange bars. So you see the percent passing, that's a combination of proficient and highly proficient, which are the new terms that replaces meets the standards and exceeds the standards. So over 91% of our kindergarten students were passing in the kinder math. Same thing down with first grade. Again, you look how they started the year with the number of students that were in the minimally proficient section, but then for the post-test, look at how many students were in highly proficient. That almost makes up the whole portion of the passing percentage. So over 90% of our first graders were highly proficient. Then you go on to second grade. Again, we see the same kind of trend where, again, starting out the year, there were a percentage of students that were minimally proficient, but by the end of the school year, look at the percentage that are highly proficient, over 71%, and again, with the 92.5% passing rate for second grade. Okay, then we get to third grade, and again, one thing you need to understand about third grade, there's a huge difference between second grade standards of math and third grade standards of math. Plus the curriculum map for third grade, they were under such a tremendous grind to get everything in, and the pacing was at a Mach 1 speed. But even with that, we still had, over 22% of the students score in highly proficient with an overall passing rate of over 51%. And then just go to fourth and fifth grade. Again, with fourth grade, look at the number of students that were scoring in the highly proficient range, almost 58%, with an overall passing rate of 81%. And then at fifth grade, again, where the math gets even more difficult, we had more than a third of our students score proficient and more than a third of our students score highly proficient, with, again, an overall passing rate of over almost 72%. So with looking at these scores, again, the Envision math curriculum, I think, definitely laid a solid foundation for us to work with our students. Again, the school city assessment is a more rigorous assessment, closely aligned with AZ Merit. So again, we're very pleased with these scores. And one other thing I wanted to point out, just so we can compare last year to this year, you have another report that's called Galileo versus School City. And if you just look at I just made pie graphs for you, but some things to point out with, again, Galileo last year, we didn't have a set standard curriculum for math. We just pulled together whatever was going to work. So we just had a hodgepodge of materials. But when you look at, when you see the colors in your pie graph, the brown color are your highly proficient or exceed standards, and the green are proficient or meets the standards. So look how different it is between Galileo and School City, with how much brown takes over the pie graph for this school year, going through the different grade levels. And then one particular thing to just point out, if you look at those pie graphs, you'll see that at each grade level, kindergarten through fifth grade, every grade level had more students in the highly proficient and proficient range than we did with Galileo. So again, I think this is another assessment to show that the Envision math curriculum is a good, solid curriculum for us and gave us a good foundation. Again, we know that we have challenges that we're going to address, but it gives us a good, solid program to work with. Okay, so now we'll continue presenting.
Okay, so with everything that we've done this year, and now that we can look at the data, what are we going to do moving forward? I know that we want to improve our use of technology. So I teach first grade, and so I have the honor of having iPads, and I have the web-based computers. And so when my students practice Envisions using all of their tools on the computers, when they took School City, they weren't as nervous and afraid, and they were used to manipulating it, and they were used to the vocabulary. So that helped them, because one of the challenges in the primary grades was that technology piece. When we first took it, I said, literally, like, put your mouse on the screen, and they literally picked it up and touched it. So using all of those technology pieces that Envision gives us helps them along with the testing, and especially when they go to second grade, when they have to take it independently, that nervousness definitely goes away. And so we want to incorporate that more into our classrooms. We're also working on our pacing, because sometimes you wonder why they have like 2 lessons versus 10. And I know we can't move the units around, but next year we can say like, oh, I can combine a couple of lessons. I could maybe do a half of this one. And so finding ways to make our lessons where our kids are more engaged, and sometimes they're long, because I know for the upper grades, getting everything in can take a couple of days. So now we know how we can make that better fit our students' needs. And a big piece is parent involvement. We had an Envisions math night where we invited our parents to kind of look through it, but we want to kind of push some of our pieces, so it's kind of hard to see that that's a picture of our app, and it's called Bounce Pages. And so for all of the workbooks, all they have to do is scan that workbook page, no matter what grade they're in, and it will give them a video with a tutorial. It will give them additional practice, and it will also give them a game. So sometimes the parents don't know some of the vocabulary terms that we're using, or a different way to multiply, because there's like 100 that we have to teach. So that kind of takes that away from the parents, like, hey, let's scan this app and it will help you out. And sometimes they're kind of nervous to ask us, especially because I know with my first grade, they're like, it's first grade and I'm not sure what they're asking my kid to do. And I was like, no worry, just scan it. So getting our parents involved and looking at their scores online, because I know Like in 5th grade, if they take an assessment, the parents can access it, or the homework piece. So really getting our parents involved in the math, because the more they feel comfortable, the more that they'll likely help their student. Okay, good.
Hi. As the academic coach at Pima Butte, my perspective of the new curriculum is very different. My job is to come in and support, to help enhance, to give them what they need. And I can tell you at the beginning of the year, there was excitement for new curriculum that they had not had their hands on in so long. But I also think there was tremendous fear of how does this work? How do we get all these components to come together to make it work? And our teachers did that. As the year went on and that rhythm was finding its place and we were seeing progress, I think the culmination of that is seeing those scores compared to the Galileo scores from last year. Where last year we were so happy with those scores of look at what they did, to see the progress that was made utilizing this curriculum was just, it's tremendous, the growth. And one of the biggest conversations that I've had, not just with teachers at our school, but other schools, is what's it going to look like next year? Because now the kids that are going to come into our classrooms have already had a year of this structure, and they understand it. So it's just going to grow and become even stronger. So we're really excited to see how things progress next year, continuing to utilize this curriculum. So thank you. Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah. And before you get to your questions, one last crucial piece that pulls us all together is, we couldn't get these kind of test scores, and we couldn't have the history of our test scores if it wasn't for a dedicated, committed staff that works really hard day in and day out, not only during the school year, but I see these folks throughout the summer. So again, kudos go to all of our teachers for all the hard work that they've done. Any questions?
Principal Lazar, I really appreciate your time. Teachers definitely appreciate your time. I definitely appreciate the opportunity when I get to do a site visit. I know it's a great honor to get around and meet all the teachers, and especially the ones that are from Kansas. So that's always great to. So. I'm curious just from your perspective, and I know we've talked about this, before, but in light of the override, now it's K through 5, to the best of your knowledge, what has been your experience in terms of how the override has helped your school, and maybe how that has contributed to even maybe better scores overall in light of the maybe lower classroom sizes and different things like that? Activity.
Yeah, well, definitely the override has been a tremendous support, not only for Pima Butte, but for all of our schools here in Maricopa. We were able to have a couple grade levels that had 4 teachers each. So our kindergarten classrooms were able to have a very nice workable number, and that allowed for the teachers to really work day in and day out with the students. So having the small class sizes helped. Also in 3rd grade, we had 4 teachers. So again, going from 2nd grade to 3rd grade, that's a big change. So having the number of teachers we did at 3rd grade to really help give a lot more support to the students really made a difference. Even with the override, which we definitely appreciated, we still had classrooms that were over the target level. 1st grade and 2nd grade now, and also 5th grade. And even with numbers over the target number, we still reached great scores. And again, because of the dedicated staff that we have, as well as having the Envision math curriculum. But definitely the override made a big difference for us, because now we have 20 classrooms instead of 17. So we're able to spread out a more even distribution of the students.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to thank you in terms of the way that you are posting this information in terms of straight pre-test, straight post-test numbers within the year. thank you, because it has been done multiple times by multiple principals in the past where I don't think the public gets the straightforward picture of where did we start out with our kids at the beginning of the year and where did they end up. So this puts it out in a very easy to understand format, and it shows the progress from the start of the year to the end of the year. Secondly, I think it's probably not without, I could see it within the realm of possibility of Maricopa residents falsifying address information to get their kids into Pima Butte, because you guys do such an awesome job. When I first moved here from Connecticut, Connecticut is a state that had almost a 3-to-1 per pupil spending ratio. Education was a very big concern for me when I got here. And all of the rage when I had first moved was Kyrene. And I had initially, and I love, by the way, I love to be able to say this. After a year in Kyrene and taking a visit at Pima Butte, I pulled my children from Kyrene District and put them at Pima Butte. And I am very thankful for doing that. So you guys just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have any questions. It was great. It's good to see the numbers.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation, and I want to thank all the teachers, like you said, for these amazing scores and this amazing progress. Moving kids from those levels is not an easy feat, I know it, and it takes a lot of hard work on your part, and not only do you do it, but you make it fun for the kids, so thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we are moving on. We are now on item 6, the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
It's a competition. Let's see who can say it first.
You guys have more opportunities to motion, don't worry. Item 7, action items, and Mr. Beckett's all ready to give us the personnel schedule.
Thank you, President Noor, members of the Governing Board, Dr. Lopman. You have the personnel schedule in front of you tonight, and I will take any of your questions regarding it.
Board, any questions?
I don't have any. I don't have any
questions.
questions.
I move that we accept the personal HR agenda as is.
I'll second that. No, you can get it. You
Go
can
ahead,
Go
man, you are on a roll. You keep going, Mr.
I am.
Anderson.
I have a motion and a second by Tori. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Beckett.
Thank you.
Item B, discussion and possible approval to suspend board policy IC school year for the remainder of the 2017-2018 school year insofar as it requires the district to remain in session for 180 days, applying instead the alternative of providing for an equivalent number of instructional minutes to equal 180 days. So I will let Mr. Beckett answer any questions, if you have any questions.
No, the only question I have is, are we going to look at that policy then in the future, so we don't have to
Suspend.
suspend it? Okay.
Thank you, yes. And just, our attorneys have been my pen pals for the last year. So
I can imagine.
We have a deep, intimate relationship with all of them. But yes, we're planning to, on the May 30th agenda, to bring back a policy revision on this, so that we don't, once again, run into this situation again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Well, I'd like to motion that we approve the suspension of policy IC.
I'll
Second. No, I got that.
I have a motion by Patty and a second by Mr. Judd. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item C, approve to hold a public hearing for budget revision for fiscal year 17-18. So do I have a motion?
So would that mean that we will just approve to have it, or will we need to approve the date with
No,
that
That
motion?
means right now we would go into public
Into
hearing.
public
after we
hearing.
approved it.
Okay. Well, I would like to motion that we approve to hold a public hearing for the budget revision for 17-18.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, I think this is where I ask if
If
there's
anybody
anyone in the
wants to.
public that wants to comment on our budget revision.
I see.
Anybody? No? Okay.
So now you close
The hearing is closed.
There you go.
Thank you
good.
for your input. We will,
They're doing a good job in the business office, aren't they?
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
We'll move to item D, discussion and possible approval of the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget revision. Mr. Roush.
Good evening, President Knorr, governing board members, Dr. Loebman. I'd like to present the budget revision, which is an annual document that we usually do. Quickly, our general fund, because of enrollment growth and ADM extra factors of our student makeup, has added some needed revenues. And with that, I've included the document. There's worksheets for that too. The general fund revenue, revision 1, would go from $41,432,606 to $42,797,621. District additional assistance, revision 1 of $2,432,063 to $3,215,482. And I would entertain questions and ask for the adoption of that revision.
Thank you, Aaron. Are there any questions?
No. I would motion, if there are no other questions, that we do approve the budget revision for the fiscal year 2017 and 18 as presented.
I'll second.
And I just want to say, growing is a good problem to have. So,
Yes.
With the motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Item E, discussion and possible action to authorize the district administration to complete and submit to the Arizona Department of Education any forms needed to document the district's compliance with ARS 15-341.01 and/or any other related state laws. Are there any questions for Mr. Beckett?
Mr. Beckett, how much time do you anticipate that you or your staff will be spending on these forms, just out of curiosity?
I think it's going to be very minimal. I think Mr. Roush's department actually will be working on that. But we have the calculations already done. Mr. Dennis Cook does a terrific job with our data, and so we had it nailed almost the first day of the walkout. We knew exactly what we could do, and in terms of at least meeting student instructional hours. So kudos to him.
Okay.
Mr. Beckett, I just thought of this question, so I apologize for not having it to you beforehand. But thinking of policy, do we not already have this in policy, and do we need to have a policy for this in case it ever happens again? Because aren't you guys already able to do that, or do you still have to have board approval?
Thank you, Member.
That's like a multi-level.
It is, I understand. And actually, the school year revision, the policy IC that we were
Right.
talking of suspended before that we'll bring back, will have language in that it will allow
Okay.
us to use those instructional hours in lieu of the 180 days if this a similar situation would occur.
Okay.
So yes, we're hoping that will get all taken care of
Okay.
on the 30th of May then.
But we don't have to, I mean, do we need a separate policy for any future reference to be able, make sure you guys have the wherewithal to do this as policy?
According to our attorneys, the revision we do for policy IC will handle.
We'll handle that, okay.
Any additional. Yes.
Okay.
And I just want to make it clear that this is to make it so that we that we have enough instructional hours,
Correct.
that kids have been taught according to the law, and that they will not have to come back past our current calendar. So,
Yeah, okay.
do I have a motion?
Motion, go ahead.
Sure. I would like to motion to authorize the district administration to complete and submit the required forms to our Arizona Department of Education to document our district's compliance with ARS 15-341.01 and the other related state laws henceforth.
I'll second that.
I I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beckett. Item F, discussion and possible action to approve an amended instructional calendar for students for the remainder of the 2017-2018 school year.
Is this the
Rich?
same thing?
This is the
This is
calendar
taking-
aspect
Calendar.
of
There's
it.
policy
This is
and then
taking
there's
the
calendar.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and from what I understand, it sounds very flexible, so it definitely sounds like there's, if I'm, for the
That's
instructional.
G.
That's
Yeah.
G, okay.
Yep, exactly. And so I'm sorry. I just
But when
don't-
we do get to G, that's what I'll
Yeah.
be thinking,
Exactly,
okay?
exactly.
So what this does is this takes out those days, so it's like another spring break, basically.
Right.
So the students aren't accountable for those missed days of instruction.
And all three of these policies, or these agenda items are
Correct.
sequentially following, so this is just the next step.
All
We have to
related, just
document
not
the exact
identical.
days that we're removing from the calendar.
Barring further discussion, motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now, item G, discussion and possible action to approve a new work calendar for impacted, certificated, and classified employees.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to motion to approve this. It sounds like we're all on board. If there's anything you would like to add?
If it's okay, I just want to say thank you to Dr. Loebman, our leadership team. We have worked, I think, hard to try to create a plan that is as flexible and as understanding as possible in this situation. It would have been nice to be able just to forgive the days. I mean, there was some thought out there that we could have that option. We found out that that was not an option. Our attorney felt that we were at risk to do that and came back and said, you guys need to figure out a plan to make this work. I think it was a collaborative effort. I think it's going to be received as well as any news can be received that you're going to have to work 6 more days is the challenge. But again, I think we presented lots of different ways that the teachers can get this taken care of. And we're excited that we're able to do this. We're hopeful that, again, it will at least meet the majority of the needs of people. We're trying to, again, be flexible in this situation.
No, I just want to say thank you. I've seen what other districts are doing, and as a teacher, I would say this is very generous, that it's kind of, we're trying to make sure everybody has an opportunity. So other districts are not quite so gentle on this topic. So I thank you, the admin, for, did I say that right? I'm trying to be politically correct. But thank you for putting this together. So I appreciate it.
I do need to give credit where credit is due, though. We are all involved, administration involved in different professional organizations. It was nice to see the dialogues happening with the other districts. Much of the information that we were able to use for our plan came from a collage of others. And so it was a wonderful learning opportunity, collaborative opportunity, really statewide, for us to solve this problem together.
Prior to the motion, I'd also like to thank Dr. Loebman for contacting board members, keeping us in the loop on all of this and explaining it in a way that made it pretty easily to accept. I appreciate it. And with that, motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H, discussion and possible approval of addendum to contract for consulting services for Dr. Loebman. And she has been providing her, has been using her consulting contract far more than I think she anticipated. But we are glad to have it in place and that it's available to us, so.
Well, and the reason that this is only so she can attend the Summer
Conference.
Leadership Conference and then any other outside organization meetings on behalf of MUSD. So I guess that was not included in the original consultant contract. So we had to bring that back because I do believe it's important that Dr. Loebman joins us in Flagstaff next month. So I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
You can give it to Mr.
Mr.
Judd.
Judd,
I've had
seconds.
enough. I've got my tally marks ticked off.
It is 7:32, and this meeting is adjourned.
You didn't call for a vote, hon?
Oh, I can't just adjourn.
No, you kind of got to call for the vote.
Good point, Patty, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? This meeting's adjourned. It is 7:33. She cost me a minute. It was going to be a record.
So is that when we all go home and we be like, oh yeah, we didn't really